Hey there! It's therapy and relaxation. Today, we're talking about grief and the power of forgiveness. Let's go! Grief is a universal human experience, yet each person meets it in their own unique and deeply personal way. It is the shadow cast by loss, a presence that manifests in quiet moments, in unexpected reminders, and in the echoes of laughter or words that once filled a room. Whether it is the loss of a loved one, the end of a cherished relationship, or the sudden absence of something that gave our life meaning, grief arrives uninvited and lingers, weaving itself into the fabric of our days. At first, grief can feel overwhelming. It presses in from all sides, heavy and unyielding, making the world seem unfamiliar. The routines of daily life lose their color. Ordinary tasks that once required no thought suddenly become steep hills to climb. Sleep may evade us, or come in fits and starts, always haunted by memories or regrets. Time itself can feel both suspended, as if nothing will ever move forward, and rushing away, as if the chance to make things right is slipping from our grasp. For many, grief is not only about what is gone, but also about unfinished business. Words left unsaid, apologies never spoken, and hurts that were never healed. These unresolved feelings create another layer to our sorrow, a restless, uneasy sense that we are carrying not just loss, but also the weight of things we wish could have been different. It is here, in this space between regret and remembrance, that the power of forgiveness begins to emerge. Forgiveness may not seem, at first, to have anything to do with grief. After all, when we ache with loss, we imagine that what we need is restoration, not release. Yet forgiveness is, in its own quiet way, an essential part of healing. It is the act of letting go, not of forgetting or excusing, but of releasing ourselves from the tight grip of anger, resentment, or self-blame that binds us to pain. Sometimes, the forgiveness we most need to extend is not to others, but to ourselves. When grief settles in, our minds may turn over every past mistake, every moment we wish we could reclaim. Why didn't I call more often? Why did the last words we exchanged become an argument? How could I have missed the signs or failed to be there? These questions, fueled by guilt and sorrow, can become a refrain that drowns out the voice of compassion. The challenge is learning to offer ourselves the same understanding and kindness we would offer a dear friend who is suffering. Self-forgiveness is an act of courage. It requires us to acknowledge our imperfections, to recognize that we, like everyone else, are fallible and human. It is a reminder that life rarely unfolds according to our plans. We do our best, with the knowledge and capacity we have in each moment. Looking back with compassion rather than condemnation allows us to honor both what we loved and what we lost, making space for healing to begin. In other instances, our grief may be entangled with hurt or betrayal. Perhaps the one we lost did not always treat us with kindness. Perhaps their departure has left behind unresolved wounds, injuries too deep or complicated for easy answers. Forgiving others, especially those who have wronged us, is a difficult road. It can feel impossible at first. Why should we release someone who has caused us pain? Yet forgiveness in this context is less a gift to the other and more an act of liberation for ourselves. It is choosing not to be defined by what was done to us, but to create a future in which their actions no longer hold sway over our hearts. To forgive is not to minimize the hurt or to erase accountability. It is to reclaim power over our own healing. When we choose forgiveness, we allow ourselves to move beyond the role of victim or accuser, becoming the authors of a new story in which suffering is not the final word. We learn that the energy used to nurture resentment or anger can instead be redirected into growth, compassion, and perhaps, one day, joy. The journey through grief and forgiveness is rarely linear. Most often, it is a winding path filled with detours, setbacks, and moments of unexpected grace. There may be days when the pain recedes and hope flickers in the distance, only to be followed by afternoons when sorrow grips us anew. Forgiveness, too, unfolds in layers. We may wake up one morning convinced that we have made peace, only to have old wounds resurface with a passing song or a familiar scent. In these moments, it is important to remember that healing is not about achieving a perfect, unshakable peace. It is about allowing ourselves to feel, to remember, and to honor the full spectrum of our emotions. Grief transforms us, reshaping who we are and how we see the world. Forgiveness, then, becomes an act of ongoing commitment, a practice of loosening our hold on pain, one breath at a time. Support from others can be an invaluable part of this process. Sometimes all we need is for someone to sit beside us in our grief, to listen without judgment, and to remind us that we are not alone. Through shared stories and gentle encouragement, we can begin to find meaning in loss and to recognize that, while those we love may be gone, their influence remains with us. In community, we discover the strength to forgive and the courage to move forward. As time passes, we may find that our relationship to loss changes. The initial intensity of pain gives way to a softer, more reflective sorrow. Regret and resentment lose their edge, replaced by a quiet acceptance of what is. We remember the laughter, the kindness, and even the struggles woven together in the tapestry of our memories. In forgiving both ourselves and others, we do not erase the past, but we free ourselves to live more fully in the present. In the aftermath of profound loss, some find solace in rituals or acts of remembrance. Lighting a candle, planting a tree, writing a letter to the departed. These actions can be pathways to both grief and forgiveness. They offer an opportunity to express what was left unsaid, to acknowledge pain, and to release it. Through ritual, we mark not only the end, but also the continuation of love in new forms. Spiritual traditions across the world speak to the interconnectedness of grief and forgiveness. Many teach that to forgive is to recognize the shared humanity in all of us, the ways we stumble, the mistakes we make, and the hopes we carry. In offering forgiveness, we participate in an ancient act of compassion that has the power to heal wounds, mend relationships, and restore peace to troubled hearts. No journey through grief is without its challenges. There may be moments when forgiveness feels impossible, when the weight of what has happened is simply too great to bear. In such times, it is enough to simply be present with our pain, to set aside the expectation of healing and rest in the knowledge that every emotion is valid. Over time, as we offer small mercies to ourselves, forgiveness may find us of its own accord, a quiet lifting of the burden, a softening of the heart. Ultimately, grief and forgiveness reveal what it means to be human, to love, to lose, to stumble, and to begin again. While loss may never entirely leave us, forgiveness can create a space for new beginnings. It allows us to honor both what was and what might yet be. In releasing ourselves and others from blame or regret, we make room for gratitude and acceptance to take root. And so, as we walk through the valleys of grief, may we remember the healing power of forgiveness. May we offer ourselves compassion in moments of self-doubt. May we release others from the grip of old resentments. May we trust that, even in the midst of sorrow, there is always the possibility for transformation. In the end, grief is a measure of our love, and forgiveness is its ultimate expression. Through forgiving, we learn to live beyond loss, not by forgetting, but by carrying forward the best of what we cherished, and by extending to ourselves and others the grace that allows us to heal. Thanks for sticking around. Don't forget to subscribe us and check out therapyandrelaxation.com for more. See you tomorrow.